Welcome back to Hilltop Cottage. Early this January we had a wonderful snowstorm. Finally the snow had come back. It had been such a mild winter, and a lot of us who love, maybe not so much love winter, but love the winter sports season, were really missing the snow. This was our first big snow at Hilltop Cottage, and I went outside to explore and experience it for myself. We got snow for sure. Yeah, I'm glad I canceled the photo shoot I had today because there's no way I would have been able to drive in all this, but I'm so glad it's here. As the snowstorm was coming to an end, we did drive into town to go to Ace Hardware. We picked up a new shovel and some more salts for the driveway. We have a very steep driveway, so every little bit helps. On our way home from the hardware store, we did a little loop around White Memorial State Forest. It looks so beautiful in the snow. This right here is Matthew's favorite part of the park, driving through here, and then you can see the old carriage roads, and they are lovely in the snow. We took turns shoveling, and we cleared out just enough space to make room for the car to go through. Thankfully, the next day a plow did come over, and he's going to be hired from now on to do our driveway because it is about 55 feet long and very steep. I started slipping, so I was slipping down as I was trying to lift the snow. So it took a little extra time because of the ice. It was also Monet's first real snow. He saw a little bit in November, but he's a cat from Egypt, of all places. He was far from impressed.
Your first snow! No? What do you think, Monet?
I don't think he's a fan.
I don't think he's a fan either.
Let's get him on.
I was supposed to be in New York City for a photo shoot today for an engagement session, but the snow has other plans for us, so I'm home, and I decided I'm going to de-Christmas the hutch, put away some of the Christmas decorations, and I'm leaving some of the winter ones. So I'll show you which ones I'm keeping up, but it's time to take down all the plates. The upstairs floor plan is very open, so our kitchen, dining room, and living room are all very conjoined. And so this hutch has actually become quite the centerpiece of the upstairs at the cottage. I put away all of my Christmas plates, which is a little sad. They add so much magic and beauty to the room. But I was prepared with this thrifted Liberty Blue plate set that I thrifted last fall, and it's ready to be on the hutch for the first time. most of these pieces at the Bethlehem Indoor Flea Market in Bethlehem, Connecticut. And what I didn't have here, I collected on eBay to complete the set. I only have 4 place settings, but it's perfect. I have so many other plates, and this is just a wonderful set for the rest of winter. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the New England scenes that are on it. I took off the orange slices, but I'm keeping up the garland because I figured it's just pretty for winter, and I'm gonna keep it up through January. Welcome back to Hilltop Cottage. I am cozy inside right now. It is a very blustery day. Yesterday we had our first nor'easter. We got about 8 to 10 inches of snow. It's kind of hard to tell because the wind was blowing it everywhere, and so some piles were really deep and others it was much thinner. But it was our first real big snowstorm here at Hilltop. Lots of snow shoveling. Matthew and I dug ourselves out a little bit. I did thankfully find a person with a plow, and he stopped by today and plowed the driveway. It was $50 because it's like a 55-foot driveway, maybe 60 feet. It's a very steep, sharp turn, and so I mean, it was definitely better than buying a snowblower. We did briefly consider the idea, but they're so expensive. So if it doesn't really snowstorm that much this winter, I don't think it'd be worth it. So we were gonna try to shovel it all ourselves. It's just really difficult. Snow is heavy, but yeah, so that's what's going on here at Hilltop. We just got a big snowstorm. Tomorrow, though, it is supposed to rain, and hopefully it won't wash all the snow away, but I mean, that's, I guess, just living in New England for you. You never know what you're gonna get weather-wise, and it changes day by day. Right now it's beautiful and sunny, although very windy. Oh my goodness, sorry, I just stopped the video because there was a hawk that came up to the window. He's eyeing Madeline, and thankfully he flew off. And obviously he can't get her in here anyway, but still, if you're a pet parent, if you have a cat, you know how protective you are of the cats. And it was like right at the window, wings all expanded. And Madeline's a very small little girl. She's a tiny cat. So I got startled. So I went over to check on her. She's fine, of course. But yeah, I'm fighting off a cold, so please excuse me for my voice being a little rattly. Every year I get really bad bronchitis, and this year it has not happened yet. So I'm doing everything I can to prevent it. Lots of tea, good supplements. I have some allergy medication as well, just in case, and it's also anti-inflammatory. So I'm just being smart with what I put in my body and what I do and how I spend my time outside, just protecting myself from getting sick. I hope everyone else here listening is feeling okay, and if you're under the weather, maybe we could just be cozy together today because I'm going to be talking about wintering. Last winter, I read Wintering by Catherine May. I enjoyed her book, and it doesn't actually teach you how to winter. Instead, it's a series of essays about different moments in our life, whether they took place in winter or a period of rest, which she calls wintering, which is true. Our bodies go through seasons, and sometimes it's not all aligned with the season we're actually physically in. So I know some people that winter is their time. You know, they love skiing and snowboarding. They're out in the mountains. It's an adventurous time for them. I unfortunately am not one of those people. I'm trying. I'm learning how to ski. But yeah, I definitely winter in the winter. And so the idea of wintering is that we have periods of rest. So it doesn't have to fit with the season you're in. It could be summertime where maybe you're overwhelmed, there's too much going on, you need to slow down and kind of cocoon and winter in a little bit. And so I love that idea. And each episode, sorry, not each episode, each chapter is a different essay regarding a time where she had to winter. And so now I'm also reading her second book. Well, no, it's not her second. She's actually written several. But Catherine May wrote Enchantment. This is her other book. It came out last year. And so this is the one I'm going to be reading. But I wanted to discuss with you the idea of wintering. So I used to really hate the winters in New England. It wasn't that I didn't like the snow. I love snow. It's just, it just wasn't a good time. As I said, I always get bronchitis every year. I'm very sick all the time. And I was also very cold. I grew up very poor. We didn't have heat in the house except for the wood stove, and it never got to my room. I never had proper winter clothing, from winter boots and sweaters, and I didn't even have a winter coat a lot of the time growing up. So winter was a really unpleasant period of time. I'm definitely was a summer girl because of it. I grew up on a little lake house near a lake. My grandparents had this tiny little cottage on the water in Southbury, Connecticut, on Lake Zor, and I grew up in the house across the street from that cottage. And so growing up with my cousins and my aunts around me was beautiful and wonderful, and summer was the time of year. And so I've been trying to really capture winter, and ever since I believe moving to Litchfield County, winter has it's opened up in my heart a little bit more, and I'll tell you why. And it's one, I have the funds to heat our home now. It's expensive, but we do it, so we're comfortable at home. We also dress for the weather. I invested in a really good winter coat this season for below zero temperatures, and a good thing I did. It's been chilly. So I never leave now without base layers, long underwear, good gloves and mittens, hats, scarves. So wearing those winter layers has been so essential to enjoying winter, and also getting outside, getting sunlight, time in nature, even if it's in a foot of snow, walking through the snow. And so I spend a lot of time outdoors in the winter, and that's really helped me winter for the season. Um, so besides, staying warm with proper clothing and staying warm indoors, bundling up with blankets and good sweaters and slippers, I have a cozy robe. Staying warm is key to enjoying winter. As I said, going outside in nature. And since moving here, we've had more access to different parks and trails and hiking spots. And so we're always around nature, no matter the season. I haven't gone cross country skiing or snowshoeing here yet. It's on my list. But I do have a pair of ice skates. We love shoveling off some snow when the ice freezes over. Last year, unfortunately, we didn't have a strong enough winter for the ponds to freeze over, which was a real shame. But this year I'm hoping things will be a little different. I want to go ice skating. So again, warmth, coziness, dressing for the weather, finding your winter nature, winter sport, getting outside, whether it's just hiking and walking, or maybe it is snowshoeing or skiing or snowboarding, or any number of winter sports, ice fishing, whatever it is, I hope you find it. Once you find some outdoor activity that you enjoy, it really does change winter, and it gives you something to look forward to. So that's one of the things Matthew said, is he hated winter, hated it. But now that we live close to a mountain and we have ski passes, we could go up. There's a ski mountain about 17 minutes away. There's also some right over the border in Massachusetts and New York, other ones in the state, and we're close to Vermont. So there's a lot of skiing, a lot of mountains to choose from, a lot of snowboarding. And once we had that to look forward to, winter became so much more fun and enjoyable. But also, besides finding your time out in nature, getting sunlight and exercise, and having that fun winter sport and activity to look forward to, it's also about prioritizing rest. So, I think everybody knows it, that getting rest is hard. I think a lot of people, especially people in the US, feel that they have to be productive all the time, and that's something I'm definitely wrestling with, is that my worth and my right to be here and take up space doesn't have to do with how productive I am. So that's what this episode's all about. This chapter is just how we could winter together, finding things that you enjoy, whether they're simple moments at home, time in nature, and yeah, that's how I like to winter. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy this chapter at Hilltop Cottage. Wishing you a wonderful Happy New Year. I believe that there are a few key components to learning how to love winter, especially if you live in a cold climate or are affected by seasonal affect disorder, also known as SAD, and seasonal depression. And the big key one for that is dressing warm, dressing for the weather. If you are bundled up outside wearing a coat and hat and gloves and everything and still feeling cold, chances are you're just not wearing enough layers or the right layers. And so you're going to want to wear natural materials like wool and cotton because synthetics could actually make you feel colder. They don't wick away moisture, they get damp. And so you're going to want natural materials that breathe well, and you're going to want base layers. So you want your base layers, your mid layers, and investing in high quality. That doesn't mean expensive, but you want high quality winter wear, and you don't need a lot of it either. You just need all the key essentials. And I shared that recently on a blog post I made called Learning How to Love Winter. So I'll share that and link it below so you can see my full list of clothing for dressing appropriately. I also recommend getting outside every single day, no matter what the weather is. And it doesn't mean you have to be out for long, 10 minutes is enough, but you're going to want natural light, fresh air, and movement every single day. In winter, it's also so important to seek help if we're really struggling with depression, speak to a friend, find a therapist. There's even virtual BetterHelp that can help you. And make time to socialize too. I know winter's a time to kind of isolate and snuggle in, but it's important to have relationships outside of work and offline. So call your friends and send a letter, do something to stay social. It's also important to choose the act of wintering. Rest, relaxation, getting the sleep that your body deserves and craves. That's one key step to taking care of yourself, as well as nourishing yourself. You're going to want to eat seasonal vegetables, greens, but also your comfort foods too. It's okay to indulge in the things that make you feel joyful and comfy at home, whether it's cinnamon swirl toast for breakfast or a cozy soup or baked goods. There are so many ways that we could nourish our bodies and our souls during this time of year.
Gravel road, I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out. Who will care for the world now? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me, take my hand and lead even when I disagree. Oh, how I love when it rains outside, and it's okay to slow the ride. Discover books I forget about, but who care for the world now? Rest with me, close the curtains, brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me, take my hand and lead even when I disagree. Maybe then I can relax. Maybe then I can relax. Bring my heels in my bed. Oh, just rest with me, close the curtain, brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me, oh, and take
Another way to enjoy your wintering experience is to cozy up your home, whether it's a dorm room, an apartment, or a house or rental. There are things we can do to bring joy into our homes. Matthew loves fresh flowers. We also have some houseplants to freshen the air and to add beauty to our home. I have cozy blankets on our bed, beautiful cozy flannels, and throw blankets throughout the home. At the start of the new year, I buy myself a new Daphne's Diary planner. They're my favorite planners for the year because they have all these great pop-out tools. There's a bucket list, recipes, contacts. There's a full pull-out page for the month calendar, all sorts of goodies and note spaces for note-taking, lists if you're a big list person like myself, and space for each day of the year to write special notes and things that I have to do. There's postcards, gorgeous illustrations, stickers, and this is just such a joyful planner for me to use. I love writing things down. It helps me stay organized and gives me a hope for the future as well. It gives me a list of, or a space to share the things that I'm joyful about and looking forward to this year. To start off the year, I wrote a list of things that I want to accomplish or learn or do for the home this year. I only filled out half the page because I want to leave room for new goals throughout the year. I feel that most New Year's resolutions feel more like punishments or things that we're criticizing about ourselves that we want to change. So, for a more abundant mindset, I instead use a word of the year. This year, my word is flourish. I thought about using thrive, words like, but I didn't want to put pressure on myself to feel like I had to succeed or do more or accomplish all these things. I just want to flourish and bloom right where I'm planted. So that's how my word of the year became flourish. If you are setting new goals for yourself, for example, one of my goals is to meal prep more and to prevent food waste. So instead of going at it with a punishment kind of mindset, like I'm going to do less this, I'm going to work on that, I want to come at it with a more abundant mindset where I'm going to be like, I'm going to preserve food more, I'm going to do more food prep. So when you're adding more to your life, you're automatically taking away the negative. And the last wintering tip I'm going to share with you is finding hobbies, things that you could do inside to cozy up at home. Matthew bought me this cake pan for Christmas. It was my Christmas present, and I'm looking forward to doing more baking this year. This winter, I hope you find joy in the little things. Remember that no matter how old we get, there is always room in our lives for magic and enchantment. Return to those dreams and fairy tales in your life that you had in your childhood that we set aside in adulthood, and make room for that inner child in all of us. Thank you for visiting Hilltop Cottage. Happy wintering, my friends.